Hi, I'm Lize, and in this series, we've been looking at various fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. And today we're gonna focus on joy. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't exactly wake up every morning thinking, yes, I'm so ready for this day. So, how do we live a life where we can experience joy, and where does it come from? Let's look at this God story and see what we can learn from it.
Welcome to Lynda's Aussie Adventures. Did you know in Australia there is a mountain called Mount Disappointment? Apparently the view was so bad there was simply no other name for it. Hey, I'm Lynda, and it is so great to be back with you again this week. I got a gift many years ago that brought me so much joy when I received it, and still to this day brings me so much joy every time I see it. My mum had some jewellery of my grandmother's that was broken and just sitting around collecting dust, and one day she decided to go and get it made into 3 rings. One for my sister, one for my mum, and one for me. It's this ring right here that I wear today. And it brought me so much joy because it felt like something to help connect the 3 of us, something really tangible for that intangible connection that we have. And now all these years later, when I live on the opposite side of the world to my family, it brings me so much joy when I put it on and when I see it, and helps me feel like somehow they're just a little bit closer. Last week we talked about this idea of the fruits of the Spirit, which is a result of having the Holy Spirit in our lives. Just like the fruit of hard work on a sports team is a winning team, the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And that leads me to today's big idea: joy comes from a thankful heart. Today we're going to jump into a book of the Bible called Psalms. Psalms is a collection of songs or poems that we think are mostly written by a guy called David. You may know David from his life as a shepherd boy, or the little guy who defeated Goliath, or even the king of Israel. David was also an ancestor or part of the line of Jesus, so he's a pretty key guy in God's story. David is well known for writing poems and songs, and some of his songs are painful, about times when people have abandoned him, when he's fearful and hurting, but some of his songs are full of joy and thankfulness. While it's not fully known if David wrote Psalm 100, he is generally considered to be the author. In this psalm, David is shouting out with joy to God. He's grateful, he's pumped, he's singing. Let's read it. Shout with joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him singing with joy. When was the last time you were thankful to God? Like, really thankful? I know sometimes when I dodge a bullet, I'm thankful and I can mutter a little "thank God" under my breath. You know what I mean. When you think you've lost your phone or forgotten it at home and you're going to be gone all day, and then you suddenly find it at the bottom of your backpack. Whew, thankful, thank God. But that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, when was the last time you were really deeply thankful, like David is in this psalm? Let's keep reading. Acknowledge that the Lord is God. He made us and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving. Go into his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. He made us and we are his. We wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for him. And that makes me thankful. Really, it's quite amazing. Remember my story from earlier? I was so thankful to my mum for giving me this ring. God gave us life. That is something to be thankful for. Let's keep reading what the psalmist writes. For the Lord is good, his unfailing love continues forever, and his faithfulness continues to each generation. Have you ever been thankful that you're loved? Think about it. It is so wonderful to be loved. Love makes us secure. Love allows us to be known. Love fills our hearts, and out of that comes gratitude and joy. So let's thank the Lord for his unfailing love together. Let's be grateful and let that joy be contagious to other people. Have you ever been in a thank you battle? You know, like a thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Gratitude and joy are so easy to catch. And here's a cool thing. When we focus in on our gratitude and joy, it takes our attention off the things we complain about and the negative attitudes we can have. Gratitude grows joy, and joy doesn't have room for negativity. And as we connect in with God, our joy grows because we realize how much we really have to be thankful for. And that's today's big idea, that joy comes from a thankful heart. That's all for this week. I'll see you guys next time.
It was really good to be reminded that God made us and he loves us. That in and of itself is enough to live a thankful life. Now, I'm sure that you all know, as teenagers, you might experience some challenges that could make life hard. Let's check in with our friend Natasha and see what she does to find joy.
I'm Natasha. I'm 16 years old, and I am a very, very social person. I love talking to people, I love making new friends, but during COVID, I found that it was a little difficult to maintain those connections. So something that I'm really grateful for is technology, because it's given me the chance to maintain those connections, but also to create new ones. I've made so many new friends over COVID that I was so grateful for. I love walking outside on trails. I think that what God has created outside is absolutely beautiful. And just trail walking especially is so relaxing, and it allows me to de-stress and calm my mind. So in grade 10, I had this little dilemma. I was debating whether or not I should join the swim team again, because I love swimming. And the question that I had for myself was whether I was good enough. That was when I had one of my first swim meets, and I was so nervous because, you know, it's so nerve-wracking just competing, and there's only like 8 people. And so I was super scared. I prayed to God, and I just prayed for His guidance, for His energy, and just to help me become less anxious. And when I dove into the water and I finished my race, I was so happy, I was so excited, and I could feel Him. I could just really feel Him when I was swimming. I also have a part-time job at a bakery, and I don't actually work in the front, I work in the kitchen at the back. So that gives me a lot of time on my own to reflect and to just talk to God. I talk to Him because there's nobody back there, right? It's really peaceful. During the COVID isolation period, I actually started my own small business. I bake cakes, custom cakes and cupcakes and macarons for people. Yeah, it was really exciting because I just loved baking before, but to be able to turn that passion into a business, that was a big milestone for me. As a teenager, I have school, I have a part-time job, and I also have my own business. And I find that sometimes it's really difficult to find a school, life, and work balance. Yeah, that's really a challenge. And some days I just don't feel like I'm not in the mood to bake, or I'm not in the mood to just do anything, right? And so what I do during those times is I pray to God, I ask Him for strength, and it just really gives me reassurance, and it tells me that I can do it and I can get through this day by day. And that's just something that I'm really grateful for, right? And it really brings me joy when I'm able to finally finish that cake or finish that assignment. I'm able to do something that makes other people happy, and so I find that it's like a chain reaction. So you're kind of passing on the joy. It brings you joy, but then it brings other people joy as well. And it just really makes me happy when I hear back and they say they love the cake, or it just made their birthday extra special. I find that God is basically like my best friend. He is. He's always there to listen to me, but also for my prayers. He's there to do that for everybody. And a word of advice that I would just give to anybody who may find that it's a little difficult to find joy in some of your days is that life may not always be smooth, but know that God does have a plan for you. And just whenever you pray to God, and just whenever you think about how God has a plan, it gives you reassurance, and then it gives you strength to know that He's always by your side.
I found it so interesting that Natasha said she doesn't always feel like baking or doing anything. I can relate to that. But what does speak to me is what she does about it. She asks God for strength, and when she moves forward to complete a task, she finds joy in that. Let's break into our small groups now to see what that'll look like in our stories.